Well, welcome back. My name is Sheldon McLeod. This is Thinking Out Loud. It's my platform here at SaltWire, and I really am grateful for this opportunity to speak to so many awesome people I know who have worked really hard to get where they are in life. And, sometimes these are people who are in the political world, or maybe they're in the business world, or maybe they're in the arts, and maybe they're like our next guest, someone who's got a foot in many different camps. In fact, he's an award-winning artist. He's an entertainer. He's been involved in the world of entertainment since he was 6, and he always dreamed of being a business owner and entrepreneur. And now you can add author to his resume. First children's book called I Am Perfectly Me. His latest is called I Am King, and I am talking about Keonté Beals. And I just want to quickly show you here his website, and he has been very busy with the Symphony Nova Scotia, his clothing line, and I Am King, his new children's book. And I wanted to say a very good day and hello, and how are you, Keonté Beals?
Hey, what's going on? First of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm doing good. I can't complain. God is good. I'm blessed.
You this week put on your social, you'd been waiting 2 years to talk about this book. Tell me a little bit about the last 2 years of your life in putting this project together.
Oh my goodness. So I'm definitely the type of person where I'll start working on things. I mean, I feel like it's obvious at this point, sometime in advance before putting them up. So I'm always constantly working on projects, and then they come out later on. So the process for this one was pretty great. As you already said, I did my first book, I Am Perfectly Me, with my younger brother, Antonio. And so that process taught me a lot, about publishing. There was a lot of mistakes that I made, a lot of things that I had to kind of correct. And so I had a better understanding. But I guess I was able to even enjoy the creation process more of creating this book. It was freeing, as an artist. For me, I was always a visual artist too, and so being able to create the characters in this book and putting the story together this time around was like awesome. It was so amazing.
You wrote the book and you illustrated the book, and that's amazing to know that you have so much talent. I'm so jealous. So tell me a little bit about the story. Tell me where this comes from, or for people who don't know or haven't heard yet.
Yeah, so I Am a King basically follows young Shamar, who is the main character, and his dad as they take you on a journey through what it means to be a king. So in the book, they talk about, how to treat a queen, being a king, but also having a gracious heart, and also feeling your feelings. If you need to cry or whatever the case may be, the same way you feel joy, to do that, and that it's okay to do those things. So for me, that story just comes from, my own personal life. I feel like hearing stories of, you ain't supposed to show emotions and things of that nature. You just gotta kind of keep it moving. Inspired me to, I guess, talk about, how those things affect, us as men in general, but especially coming from my perspective as a Black man, like there's often times where we have to continue to just fight, all the time, and we don't get the opportunity to feel our feelings, or at least, they didn't before. So it's just kind of, spreading the message that it's okay to feel your feelings, and it's actually healthy to do things that way. You're able to move more efficiently.
When I read you talking about mentorship, and that it wasn't really called that, and I've heard a terminology, each one teach one, and you are putting out there a message of positivity about you're giving an example, you're showing an example, and you're teaching. And I'm wondering how that might have affected your life to have something like this, a role model like this. And I'm sure there are people in your life who you look up to, but to have a book like this when you were a kid, what would that have meant to you?
Oh my goodness, man. It meant the world, I think just having the know that you can do something, you can do these things, that they're possible, is a big thing. And it's a big thing that's needed all across platforms too, not just in entertainment, not just in, sports and things of that nature, but also being doctors and lawyers, also being mental health specialists, therapists, things of that nature. kids need to be able to see themselves in all different forms, across the globe. And it's important for them to be able to know that these things are possible so that they can dream, they can believe. I'm grateful definitely that I had, as a kid, I guess, a big imagination. So a lot of the things I'm doing now, I've dreamt of as a kid. I was always like a loner. So I had a lot of time to kind of think and, envision what I want my life to be. Even though a lot of times I didn't see these things, So, yeah, super important.
You have to see it to be it. You have to have that role model, or I guess it's the opportunity. You described it a little bit about how you felt you were quiet and a little reserved, and that might be surprising to know of someone who's a performer who speaks to an audience, who now is writing stories and sharing all of that. What can you say about what you've learned about yourself, knowing how that was the way you were and how that influences how you do your work today?
Oh my goodness, man. I think in a lot of ways I still am that way. Definitely, I'm still a loner at heart. Most of the time I'm alone. But I can remember one time my parents saying to me that they never in a million years would have ever seen me doing anything that I'm doing today, simply because of how shy and how reserved I was. But I think it's just a testament of, you having a dream, you having a goal, you having things, a vision, I guess, even, and that you can literally do anything. Like I'm no more special than anybody else. If I can do these things, everybody can literally do these things. It's just about pushing yourself to do it. Like there's a lot of things that I do where I have fear. There is fear attached to it, but I still do these things anyway. Like some people say, how you feel this? How can you go and do? I'm not, and there's a lot of times where I am afraid and I am nervous about doing something, but even with that fear, I still do it anyway. You still have to do it anyway. So you can do anything you put your mind to. And my life has been a testament of that.
You also talked about how you were given some guidance about, and not just musically, taking things from the world around you, or people you see in the talents or traits that they have, and not just emulating it, but making it your own. How does that apply to the work that you're doing now and the music that you're producing and the book that you've written, or books that you've written?
Yeah, well, first of all, I do think it's important for us to, acknowledge those who have inspired us, for sure. There are many people who inspired me, even especially here from my community where it all started. So I definitely appreciate all of them. But I do think it's important for us to find our own identity, that is honestly probably a journey that will last a lifetime, as we're always changing and evolving as people. But, for me, I guess that journey happened within, and I guess probably for all of us, it's the same. It's just about self-love. Where that place comes from, knowing what works for you. I can remember when I first started as an artist, as a youngin', like you want to be like all your favorites, I wanted to be like Michael Jackson as far as him being an entertainer, an overall entertainer. I never wanted to be Michael Jackson, but I've always wanted to be like Michael Jackson as far as the ultimate entertainer. So I took bits and pieces, from there, and I took bits and pieces from Whitney Houston, and I took bits and pieces from Tyler Perry and these other business, moguls and things of that nature. And, they create who I am now today.
When you look in the mirror, and I've heard others say this, we all really are growing inside our bodies and our minds. And as we get older, we kind of forget that we're on this journey, and the outward appearance doesn't always reflect the experiences and knowledge that we have inside.
Yeah.
And you talked about being a role model and inspiring others and mentoring others. And where in the community do you see Keonté Beals coming back? Where is that reflection right now?
Ooh, that's interesting. Where do I see Keonté Beals coming back? As far as what do you mean?
Other entertainers, other people who come up to you to say that you've inspired them.
Yeah, I think I think it's interesting because I've always had like a interesting relationship with, I guess, almost being a role model, being looked at in that way. And so it's interesting, like, for me to to expound on that. But like, people, I think by default, doing what I do, I've been looked at as that, and I appreciate that. It definitely is great. I see a lot of kids, man, a lot of kids, especially since we've been doing the tours, who they send me emails all the time. They send me postcards all the time. I literally probably have over 100 cards from kids from schools who talk about how I've inspired them to follow their dreams. And they're so young, man. Like, I mean, they're so young. So for me, that's fulfilling. I'm able to see, just how young they are and how much I'm impacting them at that age. Like, it's crazy. I really wish I had, I guess, that aspect too when I was younger. So like, to see it happening at such a young age for them, man, I only, expect the best to come from them.
But maybe it might have been different had you not had to find your own way in that way, if you know what I mean. If as a 6-year-old trying to, if there had been a Keonté Beals right there in your life holding your hand, maybe you might not have fought as much or had the struggles, or I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing here.
Listen, man, it's crazy. Everything that I'm doing right now is everything that I've wanted to see somebody else doing. Like, I've wanted to be able to have that moment to look through that. And I feel, grateful that in a way that hopefully that I can be that for somebody, that, the things that I'm doing right now are things that they may have dreamed to do. And, that I can kind of fill that space so that they can kind of see, this is an option, for you. This is the way you can do this too.
And with all due respect, what 6-year-old in North Preston is dreaming of playing with Symphony Nova Scotia?
Honestly, I hope there's a lot of them that eventually come. There's so much talent, man. There's so many great singers, like younger singers here, man. I just hope they all surpass everything that me and some of my peers who are also doing great are able to do. That's the goal, man. Make it easier and better, more opportunity for them. That's the whole thing. More for that.
And what was that experience like for you?
Oh man, that was awesome. Like, that was probably, like, it's so crazy. Like, there's probably not one like negative thing I can say about that experience, which is crazy. Not one. Being able to work with all of the different composers all over Canada, it's awesome. And to think that this whole project, this whole thing is possible because of a project that I created here in my space, in my room, during the pandemic, and produced myself, and, had times of doubt. There was many things I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. Can't do it. How am I going to do this? It's not going to be received. But being able to just, put that foot forward and do it anyway, man. That's why I say, like, literally everybody can do anything they want to do. It's just about pushing yourself to do it. So that moment was a big one for me. I think after I was finished, I went and grabbed a bottle of water and a donair, which is my favorite. And I did have a moment, and I did shed a couple tears, it was a special moment for me, and not just me, man. It felt like my whole community and, all the struggles, everything, man. It felt like a moment for me, for all of us.
The album is called I Am King. The book is I Am King. And I'm speaking to His Majesty Keonté Beals. We'll invite people to go to the website, kebe.ca, I think it is, where you can order the book for someone you love who needs to be inspired by an inspiration that I'm very honored to be able to speak with. And Keonté, all the best to you in the world that you exist in today and tomorrow and into eternity. Thank you very much for speaking to me.
Thank you. I truly appreciate this. And I mean that, man. I appreciate you.